guess. Right now, I am reading Loving My Actual Life, an experiment in relishing what's right in front of me by Alexandra Kukendall. And one of her experiments, like she does 9 months, and each month she's tackling something different in her life. So in month, I don't remember, 7, I think? 6. Month 6. She is doing home organization, so pushing through the piles. Anyways, sorry, I'm dealing with 5 kids today, not just 3, and they're sneaking around and trying to do stuff while I'm filming. Anyways, you can see behind me this kitchen, and it was clean. This is from yesterday, but every other day this week we have been cleaning it up. And I think one of the stressful things that we deal with is constantly having to do the laundry over and over and over again. I can wash the laundry, I can fold it, and I can put it away, but tomorrow there's going to be a whole new pile of dirty laundry. I can wash and clean every dish in this house, put it all away, clean all the counters, everything, and tomorrow it's just going to be a big, huge pile again. So it's not just a matter of cleaning up the papers one time and finding somewhere to put them. It is trying to find somewhere to put them every single day. It's keeping up with the mess every single day. And there are things that we can do to help us keep up with organization, having those buckets around, having, like, going to bed with the dishes all done and cleaned and everything like that, so that when we wake up in the morning, we're not overwhelmed by all of this. Being a mom, I'm tired all the time. I don't know why. I've gone on iron pills and off iron pills and all this stuff. I sometimes get good sleep, sometimes don't. It depends. So some nights I'm just too exhausted to do the dishes before I go to bed and have a clean kitchen when I wake up. Some days I'm just lazy and I don't get it done. I'm busy with other things. Some days we're out of the house all day. And there's always 1,000 different reasons why things are not getting done. But anyways, I'm going to tackle this now and listen to Jo's Boys, which is the 3rd in the trilogy for Little Women. And I just wanted to share this before I do all this stuff, because I wanted you to see it, I guess. And this is real life. This is life with kids. Cool. It's minus 30 outside, so I don't want to go anywhere. In the summer last year, I got this really cool haircut where this was like shaved completely down, and then this was longer. And so now that it's growing, I'm growing it out, I get this lovely like wing here that won't tuck back at all, so that's really annoying. And usually I do my hair, but I just need to wash it really bad right now. Anyways, that's my desk. That is another thing that I've been organizing and reorganizing over and over and over again. I had my laptop set up there so I could do some writing and do work there, but it's just, like, on our own without kids it's bad enough, but having kids, they're like, here's another art project, here's another art project, here's another thing from school, here's this, here's that, and I'm constantly moving their stuff around, and then other stuff like mail or important stuff that they're not allowed to play with, I'm constantly putting it up and being like, I'll deal with this later, and then, you know, the day just gets away from you and it never gets dealt with. And that's part of the organizing thing, that if you have like a bucket even where it's like, these are important papers that need to be dealt with by the end of the week or whatever your deadline is, then at least you would have a designated spot for those things to go. But I'm just constantly throwing stuff around everywhere and being like, I will deal with this later, and then later never comes, and I get overwhelmed and I get stressed, and it's just very, very stressful. Anyways, I was talking about how we have extra kids. My daughter brought home Scholastic, and then I ordered some online, and then I put the papers in the recycling box, and then my daughter's like, where's those papers? I want to show my friend all the things I want. So she pulled that out of the box, and then every other recycling thing we have in there, they've just been cutting it up into tiny little pieces and taping it and making art with it, which I think is great and wonderful, and a great way for them to express their artistic sides, to get creative, to do something that isn't TV, but it also makes a huge, huge mess. We have curbside recycling here. So we have one bin for like paper, cardboard stuff, and then we have another bin for like plastic and tin cans and stuff. That the blue bin for the cardboard is constantly full. So I always have a box on my counter that I'm stuffing full of cardboard and paper. Like if I buy like a family size cereal box, I'll pour that into the plastic bin that we have, and then I have the cereal box and I'm putting papers in there. Like I said, they're constantly bringing home artwork and stuff, so if there's just paper that they've scribbled on that's not really important or not going on the fridge, it goes into the recycling. And then we do have a blue, like one of the little blue recycling bins in our house, so that's constantly filled up, and then whatever's on the counter, that gets filled up and then put into the bin, and then that blue recycling only goes out every other week, so it's just constantly full all the time. And that's why I have a box on the table that the kids were able to get to and mess up and just make a big mess. So, and my husband's working this weekend, so we'll see how that goes. We can't even go outside to go to the park and burn off energy. Anyways, part of the book part of this that I wanted to do was share her thoughts on it. I really like this book. I'm really, really enjoying how it's written. It's basically saying the need for what her experiment is that month, her plan for it, and then it's kind of written like journal style, like day 1, day 2, day 5, and what happened and what she learned and stuff. Day 1, she says, let's just get this out from the get-go. Part of the problem here is me. I'm not organized by nature. I can step over toys when walking through a room and, well, just keep walking. I get overwhelmed, paralyzed really, with this kind of experiment because it feels like hurtling into a black hole of Legos and mismatched socks. If there's any experiment that can offer me real, practical, needed help, it's this one. But I have to be pushed here because Lord knows, and he truly does because he witnesses it daily, I let a lot of things slide in this area. I am a procrastinator and easily distractinator. This must be a word. And I'm great at starting projects and not so great at finishing them. So deadlines are key for me, and they can't be self-imposed either because, well, those aren't really deadlines. So I feel like I could have written this day 1 part that I just read. I get overwhelmed very easily. Like, you can see my kitchen in there, and it could take 20 minutes to get the whole entire thing cleaned up. But it'll take me 3 days to muster up the energy and the courage to tackle like 20 minutes worth of work. And it's just very stressful. I see all the needs, like my desk. And my bookshelf is full of stuff. My husband just put a bunch of games on there. You can see kind of in the corner over there. And just like I said, constantly picking up things and moving it away from the kids and then having to find out where to actually put it. So I see all of it and I get distracted. Like, I need to clean up I've been working on cleaning up this dresser for days now. And then what happens is something else comes, like Amazon came, and I don't know what's in the package, so I have to put it away before opening it in front of the kids. And then I get the email that shows me what's in it before I get to open it because the email comes like right away. So then I can deal with it. Or just paperwork, or that gray bag there has my Bible study stuff in it, so I bring that out to the kitchen to work on at the kitchen table, and then my son gets up and wants to play with the highlighters or write in my Bible or something, so I pick it up and just throw it back in here where it's safe. And that's a whole other video I want to do where things are not safe in my house and I'm getting very frustrated and I feel like I have to live with everything under lock and key. But anyways, this is about books, organization, and getting my house under control. I finished reading the Loving My Actual Life, An Experiment in Relishing What's Right in Front of Me by Alexandra Q. Kendall. It was great. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Did so much highlighting in this and got so much out of this book. I did highlighting, but I need to go through and pick out the passages I want to talk about. I did do a quick video talking about the stress of just the dishes piling up and everything, and I've done I don't know how many loads of dishes since that video, but it's still just piling up and crazy. And she has one experiment in here. She does like 9 months of experiments, and the one is pushing through the piles, home organization, and that's one of my hardest ones, definitely. And this corner here is like, this is our mop bucket, but the other stuff is things that I want to donate to the Salvation Army. So this corner is kind of always busy, but I put this mini fridge in our room like a year ago or so to put things in it that are like water, just, you know, at nighttime or whatever. And then special little treats and stuff. But our kids, of course, have figured it out. And my son is constantly going here and in here. And there's like nothing in here. A hair clip from my son. But I had like a chocolate orange that my husband gets me every year for Christmas. And my daughter was asking, can I have some? Can I have some? Can I have some? And I said, no, it's mine. It's a special treat for me. And then, so it's in the main freezer. And then my daughter came in the one day and was like, Mom, I know you said no, but I had some of your chocolate orange. So I said, well, thanks for being honest with me, but that's frustrating. And then I got, for the Reddit Christmas gift exchange, someone sent me this raspberry and cherry 70% like dark chocolate, which I haven't tried yet, but I really want to, especially since I got a chocolate raspberry coffee, which is delicious. But I tend to hide things from the kids and then kind of like forget that I have it. Or then I go to sit down and eat it and the kids are around and they're just bugging me for it. I want to be able to fill this freezer and fridge up with stuff that are just for me and my husband. And not have the kids get into it constantly. So I bought this crazy lock thing. And I got to figure out how to put it on. But I just feel like, speaking of home organization and everything, I feel like our house is under lock and key. Like, nothing is safe from our kids at all. Even the daughter that took some of my chocolate orange, she just turned 8 years old this month. And I feel like, okay, you're old enough, I don't know, like, you're old enough to control yourself when I say no. But maybe not. I don't know. This is my first time having an 8-year-old. But it's just frustrating. And I think every parent knows this. And every parent has their, like, secret stash of chocolate or whatever it is that you don't want your kids to get into. We don't have a dollar, like a proper dollar store here where I live. So when I was in town at the beginning of January, when I went south, I bought this little, like, it's just like a wooden shelf on like rope, and then you just like hang it. And I put a couple of my little tiny teddy bears on it that are my teddy bears. And then my daughter, my 8-year-old, came in and was putting her little teddy bears on it. And I'm like, okay, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? And she's like, well, I don't want my brother and sister touching my stuff. And I was like, well, now you know how I feel. Because everyone's always touching my stuff. And she's always up there, like, grabbing. They're like, I want to look at the teddy bears and this and that. And I'm like, as a parent, it's like you don't have anything that's just yours anymore. And that's really frustrating, especially when you live 20 plus years where things are your own. Like, I had a brother, so he wasn't necessarily really playing with my stuff or stealing my stuff. But if you have siblings, like, you do deal with, you know, not everything is yours and you have to share and stuff. And being married, same thing. To share, not share everything, but hopefully your spouse is respectful enough to know, like, if something is yours or something special, they're not going to touch it, right? But it's so frustrating. I feel like I'm living in under lock and key. Bedroom closet, I have to lock it or the kids go in there and take things. I have to lock, half the time I have to lock my bedroom door because they just run in here. I have shelving above my bed and they just jump up there and take things constantly. So it's just, I don't know, I'm just really frustrated. Yeah, I really enjoyed Loving My Actual Life. And then I have another one that I showed in the book tag about my life in books, about being overwhelmed. So I think I might pick that one up next for my nonfiction read. Yeah, anyways, I will go through, tab this, and then talk about the few little things that really stood out to me. But organization, what I'm going to do next, which isn't really organizing, but helping keep my sanity, is put this lock on the fridge. So I'll see you later. Bye. So here's my wrap up for Loving My Actual Life. I just wanted to very quickly go through and read a couple of quotes that really stuck out to me. I highlighted a lot more, but I want to keep this short. It is Christian, and she does talk about, like, giving things over to God or seeking God in her quiet time and stuff like that. Or the monthly experiments that she goes through, I think, are good for anybody. So month 1 was quiet. Month 2 was first things first, mornings. So just having, she's a mom of 4 kids. So it's like junior high and elementary, I believe. And then 2 kids, 1 kid that was like going into kindergarten, and then 1 kid that was home full time. 2 of them were full time until like the end of the book at home. So just having your mornings prepped and ready, and just a good way to start the day. Month 3, my peeps, or dates, so not just dates with her husband, but with friends and family, and even she's got 4 daughters, so even finding time to spend one-on-one time with her daughters. Being kind to my body, so health, drinking more water, making sure to exercise a few times a week, things like that. Unleashing the wild, adventure, pushing through the piles, home organization, which again is the one that I need times 1,000. Month 7, love is in the details, creativity. So she is a writer, so that's kind of how she expresses her creativity, but just making sure to build more time for creativity, like doing, say, writing poems, doing poetry, when normally she doesn't write that, but being okay with it not being great, but just expressing yourself and trying something different. 3 times a day meals, so taking the time to actually prep meals and cook meals at home and not just like takeout and stuff, and having a plan ahead of time. Like I think she did usually about 4 days in advance. She had what meals she wanted to make so that she wasn't going to the grocery store every single day, but could plan her grocery shopping as well, which is something I really need to do. And then I am made to do great things. Passions was her month 9. Everyone could take something out of each month. The first quote is from Bring It Down, so building quiet into your everyday life. And they talk about actual physical, just quiet, but also like social media, always checking like emails, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, taking down like the technological quiet and having actual quiet in your day. So this is a quote from a book called Soul Keeping, Caring for the Most Important Part of You. Whether with an entire day or periods of time set aside every day, your soul needs rest, not a change of scenery or a spiritual retreat. Those are fine and may contribute to rest, but to remain healthy, our soul needs solitude with no agenda, no distractions, no noise. Now that is something that's very hard to do. I have 3 kids, the author has 4. Even if you have just 1 kid, it's very hard to find those moments of quiet, and I'm the kind of person that I do need quiet or a little bit of downtime every single day, but I am the kind of person who would rather go on like a spiritual retreat. I go to visit my mom. I went 3 times last year, which is more than usual, but I like the idea of like, okay, it's just me and my mom, and I can have some quiet time, and she lives in British Columbia, and she's close to beaches and water and stuff like that, so I'm like, oh, I could just go to the beach by myself, set up a blanket, and read my book, but then me and my mom always just end up doing stuff together. So on one hand, it's great because I'm spending time with my mom. On the other hand, I'm like, I didn't get as much alone time as I thought I would. My alone time just ends up me going to Starbucks and the bookstore, which is great, but I need more quiet in the beach, in nature time. But just, yes, building that into your everyday life, I thought was really good. And she also said sometimes for quiet to be prioritized, it must be scheduled. So whether you wake up early or go to bed half an hour early and spend some time just quiet before trying to fall asleep kind of thing. I also like, she said, so as I cherish the quiet, I must learn to cherish the noise because I cherish whom it stems. So like you cherish your children, right? And you don't know quiet without noise either. So we cherish where the noise is coming from, not always the noise. So this is talking about the Spiritual Disciplines Handbook and unplugging, like I said, from the technological noise in our lives. Unplugging recognizes that personal beings are created for personal interaction by a personal God. We need to be in the presence of each other. Digital connections aren't enough to keep us healthy. We need to be touched. We need nonverbal signals. We need uninterrupted spaces in our lives for the presence of God and the presence of others. And I love that because especially with something like this, with YouTube, BookTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, we're getting so many connections every single day and talking to people, but it's not enough just to have it online. And I hear so much about people who have social anxiety, and that's fine. Like obviously if you struggle with social anxiety, I'm not one to talk about that. And that's something you can seek help out for if you feel that you need to. But I find that it seems so weird. When I was growing up, no one talked about social anxiety, and not saying that it wasn't there, but it seems like the more connected we are online, the more social anxiety we have in real life. And I think that's obviously a problem, and I want my kids to learn how to have basic interactions with human beings in the real world, because that's where we live. And not just be like, I've always been shy. And so maybe not anxious, like social anxiety, but I've been shy and I find it hard to talk to people. But obviously I need to go and interact with people in the world. And our world is making it easier and easier to not interact with people. Like, I can go shopping on Amazon and have things brought to my door, and they literally just knock, they put the package down, they knock, and they walk away. All the self-checkouts at grocery stores and stuff now. I can go through my day and pretty much not talk to anybody, but we really need to push ourselves to be together and to connect with even just one person. Find one person you can connect with this week. That is my challenge. I was supposed to go to MOPS today, but I'm really sick, and I slept in and didn't make it. I went out Saturday night and then went to bed feeling sick, and then I didn't make it to church on Sunday. I spent all day in bed Sunday and Monday. Now it's Tuesday and I'm still sick, but I need to get this done. But feeling better. I'm going out with a couple friends tonight to the movies, so it's not a lot of like physical stuff. I can just kind of sit and veg out in front of the movies. Beyond that, maybe I can find someone to connect with that I haven't in a while. Also in the morning, she talks about organization of stuff brings the frantic stress level down. This is something, again, that is so true for me. All the stuff everywhere just brings my stress level up quite a bit. So she has questions for reflection, and then words for my actual life, and things like practices that she'll continue doing at the end of each chapter. And then here's one question I wanted to bring up. Questions for reflection for you guys to consider. Just the number 2. What are 3 things you could try tomorrow morning that would help you have a more peaceful household? And that is one thing I'm definitely striving for, is a peaceful household. Because right now it just feels very chaotic and busy and stress. So I wrote down, organize the night before. So have lunches prepared for the morning. Lunches made, their backpacks packed. So they come home from school, they do their homework, put all their stuff back in the backpack, because the teacher is like, okay, Sophie's forgetting this and this and this, and we work on that the next day. So just making sure all their stuff is back in their backpack. The first thing they're supposed to do when they get home is empty their lunch kits. So empty the lunch kits, make their lunches, put them in the fridge, do all of that stuff. Breakfast prep, so knowing like, are we gonna have cereal? Maybe we can pull out the bowls and the cereal and put it down. Or are we gonna have waffles? Maybe have the toaster out, things like that. Toys cleaned up, so just make sure the kids clean up their toys every night before bed. So like, constantly we clean up, and then my 4-year-old just dumps it everywhere. Kitchen cleaned up, so just having dishes done, wiping down the counter, things like that. And outfits set out. That's one thing that they're supposed to do every night, is brush their teeth and then pick out their outfits for the next day. And then when they get dressed in the morning, they're supposed to, they can usually wear pajamas like 3 nights in a row. They can fold up their pajamas, put it where their clothes were, put their clothes on, and then when they're getting ready for bed, they can take their clothes off, put it in the dirty basket. A lot of times it just ends up on the floor, but anyways. This is part of Adventure, this quote. One of the great fears of my life is that I would get to the end of my life and realize I lived for the wrong things. What am I chasing after? Really good question. Yeah, what are you chasing after? Pushing through the piles, home organization. So I read one of the quotes from this. Here's a couple more that I really liked. If I want to do big things for good, I must focus on the small tasks in front of me. Do them with excellence, so that I am freed up to do the monumental. And really, all big tasks are made up of many little ones. And in this chapter, she talks about cleaning out the guest room. Their guest room was basically the storage room, and they just threw all their crafts supplies in there. And she's a MOPS mom, like she does some organization for MOPS and stuff, so all the craft stuff was all in that room. So just having it all cleaned out, and then it's like, oh, can we come and we're coming in from out of town. Can we stay at your place? And it's like, yes, it's already clean. It's already ready. She bought a few new things. Not everyone can necessarily afford to buy like new curtains and stuff, but you can do little things to help clean it up. And then as time goes on, you might be able to afford like a new bedspread or new curtains, like maybe not all at once, but eventually. And just having that space clean and feeling you're not stressed when someone is like, I'm coming over. And here, I was better prepared to offer, more quick with my words, because I knew the space was ready and waiting right now. I guess that's what having a house in order is about, the ability to easily and freely use it to meet others' needs, which is something I really like and connect with and feel like that's what I want my house to be like. I want my home to be a soft place to land for those who walk through its doors. Amen. Speaking of which, my husband and son just walked through the door. I am made to do great things. Passions. Almost every other thing kids and adults are celebrated for is centered on accomplishments. Birthdays are a celebration of God's creation. God made you, and we are grateful for it and celebrate it. No perfect attendance or best hitting record or most revenue brought in. This is about you being uniquely you, which I really liked because, yeah, it's so true. We're always like, you got all A's and B's on your report card, high five, or you scored the winning goal, or you did this, or you did that. And we're always celebrating people for their achievements, and we need to spend more time celebrating them just for who they are. I love you because you're my daughter. I love you because you're my son. I love you because God put you in my family. So on my little note, I wrote, how often are we celebrating the important people in our lives simply for who they are? So go out today and tell someone that you love them just because they are who they are. They're your best friend, they're your mom, they're your son or daughter, they're your husband, whatever. You just love them because they're in your life, not because of what they do, but for who they are. And then, speaking of passion still, and I'm always trying to find like, okay, what is my passion? What are my passions in life? What am I supposed to do? What am I made for? And I really liked this quote. This is my passion, this life that I am living here and now. If I measure passion by what I feel strongly about, I will say the right here and now is it. These people under my roof, under my care, I am called to love them well today. And I really liked that because God has given me my 3 kids, and sometimes I can feel all the time, I can feel very overwhelmed and stressed, and sometimes I question, like, am I really the best mom for these kids? But it's not. I'm learning more, like, God, yes, I am the mom God wants for these children, but I'm also learning that these children are God gave to me for a reason, and they are teaching me so much. So my passion, instead of just being like frustrated and being like, oh, I wish I wasn't in this stage of life, or I wish my kids were not like this, or whatever, I need to learn that my passion is loving them where they are, loving them and helping them grow and mature and molding them as they become adults, but just loving them for, again, who they are. Anyways, thank you for watching and listening to my review of Loving My Actual Life as I go about learning to love my actual life and my 3 amazing children and husband that God has blessed me with. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye!